Hello and welcome to Freedom Revamped. For those of you who are not familiar with our platform, Freedom Revamped was created as a way to help others define freedom for themselves as well as discover freedom spiritually and internally. This is our very first time being able to do a YouTube interview, and today we have a special guest. It is Miss Chenal Lauren. Chanel is a screenwriter and director originally from Detroit, Michigan. While her former career as an educator has taken her across the globe from Seattle to South Korea, she currently resides in Atlanta, Georgia, working in the film industry full time. Pursuing my passion is a full time job. I write with my whole heart because my goal is to spread joy one scene at a time. You can view Chanel Lauren's most recent work, Pack Light, the series, on Packlight TV on YouTube. Without further ado, we are going to add Miss Chanel to the screen. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, guys, today's topic is pursuing purpose. So, we're going to talk to Chanel a little bit about what purpose means to her and how she discovered her purpose. But before we get into that, I would like for you to tell us a little bit more about yourself other than the bio, which we just read.
Um, there's so much. To keep it short, I mean, that's really who I am right now. I believe that we're always evolving and always changing. And so that's who I am right now. I've completely thrown myself into pursuing writing for television full time. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm an aunt. And I love hard. I enjoy serving. I believe my part of my purpose, not to jump ahead, is to be a servant. And so that's what I do. I help others, pour into others. I'm a prayer warrior. um, so yeah, that's me. That's who I am right now. At least we're always changing. So I'm happy with who I am. It took a while to get to a place that I'm at now, and I'm enjoying where I am right now.
Awesome. I love that. Part of our mission here at Freedom Revamp, like I said, is to allow people to define freedom for themselves. So, the first question I'm going to ask you before we even get into purpose is, how do you define freedom?
Um, how do I define freedom? I think freedom is living limitless. And that means for me, not placing limits on myself and not allowing others to place limits on me either. It took a while for me to get to a place where I just do what I want and I don't care what other people think. So I think freedom is just having the ability to live your life without the guardrails, to live your life without the cap, without the limits. And so that's where I am. And that's what I want for other people, to just be able to live limitless, live an abundant life.
Awesome. So, with that definition in mind, how do you practice freedom?
Oh gosh, it's a daily challenge. um, it really is a lot of self care. I love vinyl. I listen to records here in my office. Um, I meditate. I have mastered the art of saying no and allowing that to be a full, complete sentence. Yeah, it's just, again, it's we are, because we are always changing. It really just depends on the day, so of course, like anyone else, it's not something I have completely have down pat. I have my days, but every day I choose myself. Every day I choose to show up authentic and full, and the best version of me, and the people who I'm for will receive that, and those who don't, those aren't my people. So
Awesome. I absolutely love that. Um, like I said, today's topic is pursuing purpose. And it took me a minute to realize that I even had a purpose, a lot of people
Mm,
don't realize that they do. So I'm going to ask you, was there ever a moment when you didn't believe you had a purpose? And if so, why didn't you know you had a purpose?
mm. I think I've always known I had purpose. My grandmother was like really close to my heart. She was like my biggest cheerleader, and she always kind of rooted for me or made me feel like I could do anything. So I feel like even as a young girl, I always felt like I had purpose. Of course, along the way, especially now as an entrepreneur and pursuing something like writing, there are times where you feel like, is your purpose worth it, or is this really fulfilling? But I don't think there was ever a time where I didn't feel like I had purpose. I was in a fatal car crash. The car crash killed my best friend in 2004. And I lived. It was a long recovery, lots of injuries, but I lived, and that in itself um, solidified and amplified that I'm here for a reason. So definitely, I know I have purpose. I know my life has purpose. Um, and so that whenever I feel like, mm, is this really what I should be doing? Or um, am I doing the right thing? That always reminds me, that incident reminds me that you're here for a reason. Yes, you have purpose. Yes, you're on the right track. And God always has a way of dropping little nuggets to give me confirmation. So yeah, I've always believed I've had purpose. There are days of doubt where you um, get tired, of course, but never have I thought I didn't have purpose, if that makes sense.
I agree. Okay. So you've obviously your story like is a testimony and
Oh yeah.
for sure like a lot of the things we go through help us with our purpose and it helps us to navigate into finding our purpose. So you said you've always known you had a purpose. So how do you define purpose?
Mm. I think purpose is why you're here on earth. I think purpose is uh, what God created us to do. And that may look different for everyone. Even as a writer, of course, there are TV writers all across the world. And even though we do the same thing, our journey is different. I can't do what they do, how they do it, and they can't do what I do, how I do it. And so I believe that purpose is defined as um, the specific things you're here to do. And I don't think that it's just one thing. I think it's the things you complete along your journey. Those are all a part of your purpose. Fulfilling your purpose, living in your purpose. I don't think it's just one thing. It's just the things that we are supposed to do while we're here.
Right. I feel like we all have like this one huge purpose, and then there's the like tiny things that are also a part of our purpose but make up the bigger picture.
Mm,
So when you think of Chanel Lauren and her purpose, what is your purpose in life?
to serve. I am a servant. I serve at the foot of God. I believe that I am His tool. He uses me throughout this land for many things. Like I said, I'm a prayer warrior. Um, I write. I'm a writer not for myself, for others. I write to share stories, to encourage people, to motivate people, to give people hope, to let people know they're not alone. So that in itself, for me, is a part of being a servant. It's not just for me. Of course, I hope to be able to be in a position to provide for my family, but it's also so that other people know they're not alone, so that other people are encouraged. And so my true purpose, I believe, is to serve and to be a servant up to others.
I agree. I feel like as believers, our purpose is to serve, be it God or be it to serve his people. That's what he put us
Mhm.
on this earth for. And ultimately, if I think about it, when we're serving his people, we are serving him. So
Absolutely.
that's a huge part of what Freedom Revamped is to me. It's connecting people to what freedom is through Christ. But
Mm.
how did you discover your purpose? Because, like I said, a lot of people, myself included, we don't. there are times in our lives where we don't believe we have our purpose. You were fortunate enough to always know you had a purpose, but how did you discover exactly what it was?
Um, well, I think just life experiences. As our elders say, experience is the best teacher. So just the things that I've gone through, I suffered loss at a very young age. So um, learning how to adapt and persevere and be resilient, like many of us in our culture, it just became a natural thing. And I know what it is to feel alone. And so I didn't want others to feel that way. So praying for others, helping others, reaching out to others, checking up on others. It just, I don't know, it just kind of is ingrained in me. I didn't land on this gift. This gift landed on me pretty much. When it comes to writing, I uh, I feel like I've always been a writer. My first published piece was at the Detroit Institute of Arts. I was in the third grade. And even then, I loved writing, wanted to be a writer. But in the era that I grew up, you know, you had to go to college, you had to get a real job. And if you didn't want to be a journalism, writing wasn't a real job. And outside of Spike Lee, there weren't a lot of people that looked like me to make me think, no, this is something I could do. So I did what was safe, and I became a teacher because I loved writing and English and literature. So I became a teacher. It was safe, and I would always have a job. And while that was very fulfilling, um, there was still something missing. And so about 3 years ago, I stepped out on faith, took a leap, and God has been aligning things ever since.
Awesome. I absolutely love your story. I'm gaining so much from it.
Oh, thank
But
you.
yes. And through all of our interviews, we always want to shed light on our guests and their stories. But at the end, we always want them to give advice to people who aren't necessarily in the same space that you are. So I have two advice questions that I want you to answer, and
Okay.
I'll go with the first one. What advice would you give to someone who currently doesn't think they have a purpose?
Um, I would just simply tell you that you do. Every day that we wake up is a privilege and a blessing. Like so many people didn't wake up today. So every day that you wake up, every day that you know you have air in your lungs and you can function and move and speak or whatever the case may be, um, it's an opportunity to do something. So if you think you don't have purpose, know that you do because you're here. So I would say my advice to you would be to journal, to channel your thoughts. Um, what do you think about the most? What brings you the most joy? What do you like doing the most? What are you feel? What are you on fire when you're doing it? And that thing might be your purpose. Sometimes it's just honing in um, on what our gifts are.
Amazing. I love that. And the second question is, there might be someone who knows they have a purpose but doesn't necessarily know what it is. So, what advice would you give to them in pursuing that purpose?
I would say trust yourself. And similar to my previous thoughts, write things down. I believe in the power of paper to pen and I'm sorry, pen to paper and writing things down, praying over them, manifesting what you want. And so if you believe you have purpose, you're already halfway there. Like, you know, there's something you should be doing. So trust yourself, whatever you feel like that thing is or those things are, trust yourself. Trust your gut, trust the spirit, whatever you consider it, your intuition. Trust that what you believe you should be doing is what you should be doing. And if it doesn't work, try something else. There's this huge thing that failure is so awful, but failing is just you try something and it didn't work, so try something else. Like I said, every day that we wake up is an opportunity to do something again or to do something else. So just keep trying until you land on what brings you joy, what excites you, what sets you on fire, and then do that thing every single day.
Amazing. I love that. In the previous question, you said you know you have a purpose because you're still here.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a huge part of it. When I was in my darkest moments, there were moments where I did not want to wake up the next day.
Hmm.
But my mom was like, well, you're waking up. So what are you going to do with that air that God has given you, that breath, that word that He has given you? So I think that would be my advice as well, is to know that because you're still waking up, because you still
Yes.
have breath in your lung, not to waste the breath in the air, because there are millions of people who did not make it to this day right here. I mean,
Yes.
2020 has taken so much. I mean, even previous years have taken so much from people, but 2020, you made it through 2020 this far. So, what are you going to do with the remaining days of this year? And what are you going to do with the remaining days of your life? So, I really appreciate you for coming on this interview with us. And the last thing I'm going to ask you is, how can people keep up with you? Because after this conversation, I'm pretty sure a lot of our followers are going to want to, follow you and the word and the gift that God has given you. So, how can people keep up with Chenal Lauren?
First of all, thank you to you for even reaching out. I appreciate that. I appreciate you noticing the work that I'm doing and honoring that by interviewing me. You are my very first interview, so I'm going to archive this.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
my platforms are I'm on Instagram. It's Chenal.Lauren, Chenal.Lauren, Lauren. And you can also follow me on YouTube. It is Pack Light TV. Just it's spelled just like it sounds, Pack Light TV. And that's it.
All right, awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us here at Freedom Revamp, Chanel, and
Thank
thank you
you.
to everyone who has watched this. Be sure to keep up with Chanel. I'll have all of her links
Yeah.
in the description because she's doing some amazing, amazing, amazing work.
Thank
So
you.
until next time.